Hey guys, Jessica here from doitbetteryourself.club, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to attach your sleeve pieces to your shirt bodice. So this is all a part of the Beginner's Guide to Sewing Knit Apparel, and you can see the rest of that series at the blog doitbetteryourself.club. So a lot of ladies that are new to sewing knit apparel get confused when they sew their first sleeve on, and that is because in a lot of scenarios you're going to be attaching the sleeve by sewing the sleeve piece to the bodice piece like this. So basically you're being asked to pin together two opposing curves, which can be a little bit confusing at first. So I'm just going to show you really quick how to pin this on the correct way, and it's really easy. All we're going to do is start by getting the end of our sleeve, and I have my fabric pieces right sides together, and I am going to pin the end of my sleeve to the armpit corner of my bodice, and then do the exact same thing on the other side over here. And then what I like to do is find the middle point of my bodice, which is not always the shoulder seam. So in this case it is about right here, just off from my shoulder seam. And then I like to find the midpoint of my sleeve, which I have actually marked with this notch here. And then I like to pin those two together. So I have the ends of my sleeve and the ends of my bodice pinned together, and then the midpoint of my bodice arm hole and the midpoint of my sleeve pinned together. And then from here all you're going to do is go on each side. You're going to have to very slightly stretch the sleeve to get these to line up. Not a lot, but you're going to slightly stretch your sleeve as you go along, and you're going to pin the rest of these two pieces of fabric together. So now you should have those two curves pinned together. So let's go ahead and get those sewed. So I'm going to be sewing this on my serger, but you are more than welcome to sew it on your sewing machine. Just make sure you use a good stretch stitch. All you're going to be making sure of is that your fabric pieces stay aligned with each other. As I mentioned before, your curves, since they're kind of facing away from each other, it's going to be easy for your fabric to pull away from each other. So just go slow and make sure that your fabric stays aligned, and give it a little pull if you need to. Another thing I wanted to point out is make sure that you're checking that your fabric for your bodice is not getting folded up underneath your seam, because it's easy for knit fabrics to sometimes slip around like that. So once again, just go slow if you need to. So I have gone ahead and sewn on both of my sleeves, and it should look just like this. So you have a nice round shoulder to your sleeve. If you're using a lightweight knit like I am, you're going to probably have some waves going on right here. So just take a couple minutes and take the time to press this before you move on. All right, so the trickiest part of the sleeve is done, getting this seam done right here. And look at how pretty that looks. Now that you gave it a little press, it's nice and flat. So all we're gonna do now is we've got to go down the sides of the sleeve and our bodice. So I always start by putting a pin together right underneath that armpit seam so that it lines up perfectly under there. And then I pin at the end up here. And then I'm going to add some pins, like one more in there, and then I'm going to pin all the way down the side of my shirt. So now I have the underside of my sleeve pinned and all the way down my bodice, and we're going to go ahead and sew that. When you get to the armpit seam right here on your shirt, if you're using a serger, all you're going to do is just kind of fold up here so that now your sleeve inside seam and your bodice inside seam are straight, and then you can just sew straight down. Okay, you should have your sleeves all ready to go, ready to either cuff or hem. I'm going to go ahead and give my side seams a good press, and then you can see the finished result. Everybody likes to skip ironing and pressing, but I feel like it gives it such a better, more professional look, and it is so necessary for lightweight knits that like to wave and wrinkle really easy.